This video is going to address a widely held belief system in the black community that's taught to young women that it's their job to help a man be a man. That is the exact phrase that's used. I think it's part and parcel of that mentality that women are responsible for lifting a man up and having his back and being his strength and, he be his peace and his helpmeet and all these things that are bandied around in the black community, laying responsibility for what a man does, who he becomes, how he becomes it on the feet of women. I am strongly against that mentality. This video explains why. It also explains the many pitfalls that will befall a woman, a family, and a man himself if he adopts that policy and if you treat him like a child instead of stepping back and allowing him to be the man that he wants to be without your help, without your interference, without any guidance from him, unless that is your child. We're talking about grown men here that you're dating, men that are going to be the father of your children, men that you're married to. These men are that's not your job. And you sisters need to stop with this mentality that you assuming responsibility for what men do and say. It's very dangerous and it puts the burden on you for a man. It just totally enables him to not take any responsibility or to be accountable for himself, and he can easily blame you and you accept the blame because of this mentality that you have. This show was originally aired in September of 2013 on my Blog Talk radio show. I've edited somewhat, not a lot, so you may hear occasionally me giving out the call-in phone number, and just ignore that, of course. I don't know who has that number now. You call it now, you might get your feelings hurt. I don't really know what's going on with Blog Talk because I haven't been on there in a couple of years. But I think the show was very important, so I wanted to bring it back online in this format, so for my new audience, so that you could also learn these very valuable lessons during Debruary 2019. I hope that it works out for you. If you have any questions, of course, post them below, and I will see you guys tomorrow during the live stream. This is Deb Cooper. Bye-bye.
What I want to talk about tonight is a topic that came up recently. Well, actually, it's been coming up over and over again, but it really came to a head this week when I was sent the following quote. It said, "Hey, fellas, if you tell the woman you are with your greatest dreams or your deepest fears and she laughs at you, know that you might be with her, but she show ain't with you. Your woman is supposed to be your biggest cheerleader besides your mama. And if she ain't cheering for you, go get the one who will." Okay. That might not seem like such a harmful thing at first glance. There's some truths in it, in that, as a pair, as a team, you do want to cheer each other on and support each other to accomplish your goals. That's very important. However, what you cannot do is have blind allegiance with no forethought, no insight, and no kind of critical examination of how your man's, quote, dreams are going to affect you, your household, and any children that you have. That is why this meme, this phrase, whatever, makes no sense to me. No sense at all. Okay? Now, a lot of the guys including the guy who sent it to me, were in favor of it. They're like, sounds right to me. I don't see a problem with it. I need, my woman's supposed to support me. She's supposed to nurture me. She got to believe in me, and, all this old stuff. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, well, me. I'ma always have a controverting opinion. So I said, well, this gets kind of tricky because some men's ideas need to be laughed at. They need to be laughed at hard. I mean, like on the floor, rolling around, kicking and screaming, and the whole nine laughing. Examples: brothers just always talking about they up in the studio. You went out, we in the studio. Nigga, you been in the studio for 15 years, you ain't dropped nothing yet. You just go there to hang out. You may as well just be at a nightclub for all the work you do. It's just a spot to kick it, and you know this. But it sounds good, but you don't do nothing. You don't have a job, you don't make no money, and you're just useless while you sitting up being, quote, in the studio. Same thing with these brothers talking about, I'm trying to be a rapper. I'm going to be a rapper. Has it occurred to you that you've been saying that for 2 decades and that you're down on the downstroke to 40 now? Did it ever occur to you that perhaps your behind is just too old, dusty, and crusty, and that that's a dream you need to let go and go get back to school, get a job, go to a trade school, do something? You need to do something with yourself. You can still be involved in the music industry, but you have to do it in a way that makes sense. You're not going to be a rapper at 40, dude. I'm sorry. Not going to happen. So you approaching me with this dream, and you talking about you need my support, especially you need my money. You getting ready to see me be a comedy show. I'm going to be laughing so hard. So, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. These brothers standing on the corner. They laying on the couch. They, over there working out with the remote, control, or with the PlayStation controller. Yeah, baby, I can't work for the man because, I got to do my own thing. I'm thinking about starting a business. Okay, so, the woman, she's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, that's better than what he's doing. Let me see what he's talking about. What you talking about? You going to start a business? What kind of business? What you going to do? Oh, I ain't decided that yet, but, I'm going to be looking into it. I'm going to be, I'm thinking about, looking into it. I'm going to be getting ready to look, So in other words, you ain't doing shit. You just running your mouth, sitting on the couch with the remote in your hand. That's what you're doing. This game is run all over the country on all kinds of women, and they're afraid to speak up and say anything. So what she's doing is working 2 jobs, working herself to death, looking like she's been run over by a truck because she's trying to, quote, hold her man down, end quote, and quote, show the support that a good wife should show, end quote. Fuck all that. The bottom line is there's 2 people in the relationship. 2 people need to be kicking it hard. 2 people need to be rolling that wagon, not one rolling it and one sitting in it with his legs crossed. That don't work for me. So this whole premise here about, this man's dreams and his dream, okay, it is great if you have dreams. Don't get me wrong. Dreams are good things to have. Men without dreams and goals and desires for more are pretty just dead inside people. But what a woman needs to see is that the guy is doing something to bring those dreams to fruition, not just running his damn mouth. And that's the problem I'm having because so many of these women are like, I'm supporting my man, I'm holding my man down, and they say it with pride. This niggas run around driving your car all day and not doing shit, coming to you to get money to put in the car so he can go kick it with his boys, and you think that's okay? Are you kidding me right now? That's like having another child, a 6'2" bearded kid. That's what that is. He's not helping you. He don't do nothing. So it's like I'm just, the mentality here for black women is, of course, this thing that they need to be a mule. That's what I call it, being a mammy mule for these men. You want to carry the man on your back. You want to do everything for him to make his life so much better and easier so he can fly faster. But he ain't flying nowhere. He's sitting on the couch. He's not doing shit. So when I see that, and I see these go-getter women, they just trying to do all this stuff. They're trying to save money. They want to buy property. These chicks are trying really, really hard. Some of them with only a high school education. But they are busting their ass trying to make some stuff happen so they can have something and have kids, for their children. But they have these useless 2-bit pieces of shit men just sucking up resources. So I don't understand the need for this kind of situation, and I think we sisters really need to look at this, step back for a minute. Step back and look at what you're teaching your daughters by what you're doing. Your sons, the message that they're getting about being a man by looking at how you're treating this, useless barnacle that's sitting on your couch. Why are you doing that? You're giving your children a very, very, very negative portrayal of fatherhood and manhood. Those men need to be given le boot right out the door, and they need to be kicking it for themselves. There's no reason in this world for grown men to be sitting around with their hands stuck out talking about a woman needs to help them do shit. Now, that's my opinion. You, of course, can have a different one. Won't change mine, though, but, but this is what we're here to discuss. I mean, sometimes, people have differences in thought and, whatever, and we enjoy the discourse. So you can call. The number is 347-327-9215. That's 347-327-9215 to call in to the Date Smarter, Not Harder Relationships Talk Show with your host, Deborah Cooper. Just press 1 on your keypad once you hear the little voice answer the phone, and that will alert me that you want your call picked up versus a dozen or so people that are just kind of hanging on the phone listening to the show. All right, area code 310. I believe you called in first. Let's get you here on the show. Welcome to the Date Smarter, Not Harder Relationships Talk Show.
Hi, Miss Heartbeat. This is Lainey Alexander. I'm also known as Bougie Girl. I'm on your page as my real name, Lainey Renee Alexander. And,
hey,
I'm the one who said, I'm the one who said that, in my younger days, because I was so capable, I had boyfriends, and they weren't actually black. They were of different races. And they, they had degrees, too, but they came from rich families. They didn't know how to hustle. And I was like, what are you doing? And it would take me 15 minutes to get, make a phone call because I had a lot of connections. I'd hook them up and their career would take off. And then all of a sudden, and, I wasn't doing it so they'd like me more. I was just 23. I'm like, it was more of an ego thing for me. Look at me. I got it like that, whatever. And then they would trade me in. And then, but the funny thing is their parents would make them come right back. Yeah, you didn't trade up when you got a dummy. I had a couple of, parents, they were, one was Latino, wealthy Latino people that were doctors, and the other one was white, and they were they made them come back and ask me for a second chance. And I was like, no, because I already seen what you're going to do. And I wasn't even impressed like that. That's why I was able to walk away. But I agree. I see a lot of women willing to be training wheels. Okay, it's one thing to be a training wheel when you're 18 or 19, you're in college, and no one has anything. But when you're 29, you don't need to be a training wheel anymore. Unless you're getting paid and unless you're going to get a recommendation like you're coaching and getting paid for it. Otherwise, you got to leave the anchor weights alone. Because anchor weight people, they do not hold you down. They drown you. They don't hold you steady, they hold you down. And so I'm so glad you're doing this topic because I think black women have been sold a bill of goods that, the reason why black men don't want them or, aren't supporting them is because they're not supportive. But that's not true. There are guys out there, and I have black male friends, and they tell me all the time, do not be that woman. Do not be the training wheel. Because what ends up happening is you help the dude, and then all of a sudden they trade you in, and because every time they look at you, they remember that you knew them when they didn't have nothing. So that's my take on that. So thank you. This is a public service.
Before you hang up, one quick question. Do the women that you know that may have that attitude, where did they get it from? That they think that they need to do all this stuff for men?
I think they got it from, honestly, I hear it more from women telling other women to do that stuff. Because I grew up with a dad, and he struggled with mental illness, but he would tell me the same thing. He's like, nah, you don't get with no dude that doesn't have it, together. It's one thing to struggle in college. He would say, if you're all in college and you're struggling, that's different. But if you're 32 and you're struggling with a dude that's not doing anything, you can do better by yourself. I think it's women. I think it's older women, and then what happens is these younger guys come in and they're running some kind of iceberg slim Ike Turner game on their head, and this is why you don't have a man, because you don't hold anything down. And yeah, are there sisters with funky attitudes and they're single for a reason? Yeah, but it's not everybody. There's women out there that will cook and do all this stuff, and they'll be struggling, like you said, looking like they're run over by a truck because they're taking care of everybody else. And they're just doing. They think if they step up, the guy will love them more, be more appreciative. But he's just going to get fatter sitting on their couch.
Yep, girl, this just makes me want to stab people. Thanks, Lainey. I am so glad you called. Let me put you on hold in case I need to come back to you. Okay. Area code 206. Your mic is open.
Yeah, I think successful black women seek out losers. because they can call all the shots with a man who doesn't have as much as they do. I think they actually look for men that they can control. Because I know so many black men living with black women, driving their cars. I'm like, why can't you get a better man? It's because they don't want to get a better man, because a better man who has his own stuff will have a say in the relationship. And a lot of black women who didn't have their fathers, so they've got abandonment issues. So if they get a loser, that guy's not going to abandon them because he don't have anything,
The hell he won't. As soon as they get something, they abandon you.
Well, I think a lot of black women look for guys they can control because they're afraid the guy will go away. That's why so many of these women outside of prison get with guys who are in prison, because that guy's not going nowhere, because they got abandonment issues. They're worried about a guy who can take off.
Well, I think it's okay. Thank you. I think it's more about the cheating thing with those women. They have some real intimacy issues because I've talked to a lot of them, and they like the feeling of a relationship, just the same reason why women get involved in long-distance relationships. They like the feeling of having someone, the emails, the little packages, and the phone calls, but they don't really want to be bothered on the day-to-day, and so that's one attractive aspect of it. As far as the women choosing knuckleheads, I think it's because a lot of them dream, they are caught up in what we're talking about tonight, a nigga's potential, his potential. So you see it as her wanting to control him. I don't see it that way. I see these women getting with these guys thinking they're going to help them. They're going to help them achieve their dreams. They're going to help build them up. They're going to hold them down. They're going to do all the stuff that they have been told is what the proper woman does with her man. So they're using their resources to, quote, hold this man down and, quote, have his back, which is what they've been told they are supposed to do. That's the real deal. And it's like, I try to tell them all the time, potential is nothing but smoke. Smoke, it doesn't always mean it's going to be a fire. Sometimes it's just a smoke, and then the smoke goes out. So, I really caution women about signing on to dudes based on what their perceived potential is, because a whole bunch of people in the graveyard who never realize a drop of their potential. And the women who wasted their lives with these losers, 30, 40, 50 years, 10 years, I don't care if it's 10 minutes, that's too long. Because if a man is not actively doing what he needs to be doing for himself, you do not help him. I don't give a fuck if he wants $10 to get a game. No, he gets it from his boys. He gets it from his daddy. He goes and collects some fucking cans and gets it that way. Whatever way he needs to do it as a man should, that's how it should happen. And I'm going to fault these mamas too. You're up there giving your sons money. You don't get past the age of 12, you don't give a boy shit. His ass needs to earn it. So these mothers with these spoiled ass 16 to 17-year-old boys giving them money. What the hell are you like? It's like a pimp setup. No boys get money from mothers. That is setting up a very poor dynamic where he thinks women are supposed to take care of him like his mama did. Y'all are doing that to your boys. You're fucking them up. Okay? They need to have jobs. I don't care what they do, they need to get out and they need to kick it and earn money. Especially by the time they start talking about they want to go on a date and you pulling out $50 to give them. So basically what you're doing is funding your son's sex life just like a hooker. That's what hookers and pimps do. The pimp says, give me your money, and he goes and spends it on some other bitch. That's the exact same mentality that you're setting up with your boys. Don't do that. Stop it. Stop giving men money. 12 years old, your son needs to have it in his head. At 12, you're going to start earning chores. You're going to have chores to earn money. Extra stuff, you're going to do stuff outside. You're going to go to your grandmother's house and do something. You're going to go down here and work at the corner store, bagging stuff and stocking. You're going to do something to earn your money because you are a young man now, and that's what young men do. That's the morals and the values you need to be instilling in your sons. Nothing is free. Stop giving them stuff. Stop it. You're spoiling them. Spoiled men are useless. They're useless to themselves. They're useless to society. They're useless to women. They're useless to children. These are the kind of dudes we have running around here now, dropping babies and running off, leaving them because they feel entitled to do so. They have no sense of manhood and accountability and responsibility, and that happened in childhood. You all spoiled them and you let them get away with murder. They didn't even clean their own damn room. You still in there at 18 cleaning his fucking room. I wish I would. I don't care if animals come roaring out of there because it's so nasty. Look like a damn jungle. Keep the door closed and you deal with the wild beasts that's in your facility, in your room. That's your space. Clean it up if you don't like it. You know, this is not me. That's not my problem. And then at 18, you need to be getting out anyway. Get out. Go join the Merchant Marines or something. Do something with yourself. So these are the things that, you know, I want to talk about in this broadcast because we have young men in the African American community all out in left field. They're on the wrong track, and far too many mothers are co-signing on this stuff. Far too many girlfriends are co-signing on this stuff. Far too many wives are co-signing on this stuff. I don't know what you guys are thinking about. I don't understand how you can feel like this is a man. But, you know, because he's not doing anything that's manly except having sex. You know, and, I mean, that is not what makes a man a man. So, you know, we got to talk about this. Area code 786. 786, your mic's open. What's your question or comment? Do you have a question or comment? Well, I guess not. Anyway, moving on. One of the reasons why I wanted to, bring this to your attention is because I've noticed a break. There's a break in our society, and it pretty much falls between, you know, it's an age thing. It's definitely a generational thing. Because guys, I'd say, maybe like 40 and over, 45 and older, have a different mindset to this stuff. They look at family and having something as the basic standards of manhood. This is what you're supposed to do. Anything less, you've fallen short. You're not a man yet. You know, still trying to be one, but you're not. So, I just want to tell you this story about my own daddy. My parents got married young. My mom was like 18 or 19, something like that. And my dad was in his mid-20s. He's a little older. So, but what he did, though, was wait until he had something to offer my mother. This is what he put in place. My dad only went to school through the 8th grade. He dropped out. He left Texas on the family farm when he was 13 years old. Okay, he never went back to school, and he never did, that was it. He was on his own from 13 until the day he, got married and was with my mom. Now, what my dad did was set up a business for himself. He was a carpenter, very, very good with wood and with his hands. At first, he got a truck with tools, and he would go around and he would fix things and make money. Then he would start taking custom orders to build things for people, cabinets, bookshelves, stands for televisions and radios and things like this, tables, all kinds of stuff. He built all kinds of stuff. After a while, he had enough money, he opened a shop. So no more did he have to go to people, they came to him. He hired some people to help him. He was able to create more product and make more money. After that, he took some of that profit and he invested it in real estate. Now, we're talking in 1950s in San Francisco. This is way before the civil rights era stuff, So you know what was going on with black folks. And luckily he was in California, but still, it was, racism was still just as prevalent as it is now, if not more so. So he took his money and he bought a 6-unit apartment building in San Francisco in a part of town that we now call Soma. Okay, it's like the yuppie area of San Francisco. But at this time it was, a lot of poor families lived there, immigrants and people like that. But they were proud of what they had, so everyone took very good care of their property. And, It just wasn't she. It wasn't a she part of town. So he got a 6-unit apartment building, rents it out, and then he approaches. He kept the top unit for them, and he went and got my mom and proposed, and they got married in this now. Okay, so when he, at 27, 26 years old, got married, he had a income property, a thriving business, a truck for himself, and a car for her. Now, why do I bring all this up? It's not to brag about my daddy, although I do, of course, think he's the shit. The reason I do this is because I have heard so many men, young black men, call on this show, be on my Facebook page, be on my websites, complaining about women needing to get with them when they don't have anything and help them get it. And I'm constantly looking at them like, but how is that helping her to help you get shit? How is that helping her? She's not even married to you. She's just kicking it with you, dating, whatever. But she's going to invest all this time and energy and effort into a man she just barely knows? Why would she do that? Well, that's how it's got to be, because, I need to know what kind of wife she would be. I need help. And, she need to help me. And they have this sense of entitlement to a woman's time and energy and resources. They don't feel the need to have to establish themselves as men with something to offer a wife and children before they go out and get one. They don't see that. So I'm telling them, dude, why would anybody want to marry you? You don't have shit. You ain't about shit. You don't have shit, and you don't even think right. I mean, you being married to you would be like a divorce 2 years later because your mind is all fucked up. But they don't see that. They just, because, women, they need, they just want to come on board, after I already have all my loot. They just want to take advantage of a nigga. Just want to have, okay, but what? But if she's working on her program and she has her stuff and you don't have anything, why should she deny herself from advancement in her dreams and the goals that she set for herself? Why should she put her stuff down to go over here and help you? What are you doing for yourself? Besides sitting here crying to me about what some woman needs to do for you. So see, this is the mentality that's driving me nuts, and one reason why I want to do the show. This is prevalent. This is widespread amongst black males. Do not think that this is unusual. When you talk to them, you will hear how many of them really believe that a woman is supposed to hold them up, hold them back down, have his back, help him, and all this old stuff. They will spout that out in a minute, and you look at them like they're crazy. They don't even understand what's wrong. What do you mean? Of course that's what women are supposed to do. It's like we're here to just, be their slaves or something. I don't know what these fools be thinking. But this is a huge problem and one of the lackings of the foundations of manhood. We don't have them in the black community. Then these brothers have the nerve to sit up there and talk about, well, what kind of wife would you be to me? The kind who's not your wife. That's the kind, because you don't have shit to offer. There's nothing about you and your package that you're presenting that is good enough for me to tie myself to you for the rest of my life. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing nothing. You have no achievements. You have no dreams. You haven't done shit with your life. Nothing. What have you done between high school and 40? That's what's that. Those are your wealth building years, my brother. Those are the years when you need to be working to establish yourself as a man. And by the time you're 35 or so, you should be well on your way or already have accomplished it. I know it's harder these days than it was like in my dad's day. I'm, accounting for that because the economy is just like rock bottom, just ridiculous. And, a lot of people are really struggling. Taking that into account, I upped my years from 30, which is what I used to say, to 35. So, by 35, you need to have some shit in motion. And that's when you can start looking for a wife. Because until you have something to say, young lady, I have prepared a home for you. I have prepared my mind for you. I have prepared a financial base of security upon which we can build together. Okay, but you put the foundation down. Got it? It ain't like some sticks and stones there where you want her to come in slinging rocks. You laid the foundation down. She can come in and say, this guy's mind is right. he's ready for a wife. I can join forces with him, and we can rise to the moon because his mind is right, and I can see what he's already doing. I can buy into his program because I have visual evidence of it working. That's what women want. Women need security more than they need anything else. They need emotional security, financial security, psychological security. If you are struggling, you broke, your light turned off, your car about to get repossessed every other week, you borrowing money here and there, your credit's all fucked up, you don't have security to offer a woman. You should not be trying to date. You should not be trying to fuck anybody because you don't have that kind of time. Right now, what you need to be doing, my brother, is getting your shit together. That was a concentrated effort of 150% of all of your energy. You should be devoting it to that. That's what you need to be doing. Stop dilly-dallying at the clubs and hanging with your boys and playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and all the stuff that men do to waste their time. You don't have that kind of time. The clock is ticking. Get your shit together. The black community is spiraling out of control. Little knuckleheads shooting up everybody and everything because they don't have any other goals. These are the young men I'm talking about. They're lost, directionless. They have nothing going for themselves, and so they resort to violence and stupidity because they're bored out of their mind. So, those of you who have enough sense to listen to this show, those of you who are parents, please listen to what I'm saying, because you don't have to do it. It's up to you. But I'm noticing a trend here, and I'm trying to pull your coats so that you, even if it's just in your own family, in your own life, can do something to turn it around. You'll be a happier person. You'll be a much more solid person. When you retire, you'll actually have some money to do it. All kinds of things like that will be better for you if you listen to what I'm saying and make the necessary changes in your life right now. And you will also be able to attract a quality woman who just might help you build your dreams. But you got to have your dreams established, a foundation laid first. Then you get a woman. Okay? That's how it works. Okay, area code 302. 302, your mic's open. What's your question or comment?
How you doing? I just wanted to clarify a few things. I was just listening in, and I want to know: are you talking about the men who, pretty much, for lack of a better word, the knuckleheads really aren't doing much with their lives? Because the kind of questions you're posing that you say men are posing to you, I also hear from the educated black men who are in college, are striving for something. They also have that same complaint of not being able to find a woman on the way up until they get there. So leaving that, what technically do you have as your your standard for having their shit together? Because like I said, I still see men who are on that path still having these same complaints.
Well, that's true. And being in school, you're right. Because I'm not saying that it's, bottom of the barrel or those. I'm talking about a mentality that I'm seeing that's prevalent amongst young black males, period. And from what I see, it's like the 30 and under, 35 and under age group, more so than the older cats. The older dudes get it, the younger guys don't. And so there are a lot of them in school that think just like what you said. So it's the kind of thing that's going to require women to really look at what he's doing. Okay, it's great he's in school. Now, you're in school too. So when you guys get out of school, what's his next step? Where's he going? Because right now, all he has is potential. And I don't want women banking too much on potential. I mean, potential's good, but you got to make sure he's going to do something with it once he gets out of school. So,
I agree with that. I mean, I necessarily never said I disagree with all you were saying. It's just that I feel like the kind of men you're talking about, the way you're talking about it, I feel like a lot of men in all different, kind of situations have that same complaint that they want the woman on the way up. Because I feel of course, let me backtrack. I feel like even though some women will get played from that kind of mindset of men, for the good dudes out there, that kind of thing is actually gold to them. Like, looking for a true blue relationship, that thing is actually gold. So my next question may jump ahead, but what can men do to not, fall into the trap of having everything set up, and then, you have the women who are looking for men like that just so they can abuse them? What can a man do to kind of, assuage that you want a woman on the way up because you feel like she'll be there for you type of thing.
But see, that's fear talking. That's fear. And to me, that when a man allows fear to control his life, he's a bitch. Stop being fucking scary. And it's like, this is the kind of thing, like these are rules to manhood, and having courage is one of them. If you hold back and you always worried about what somebody might do, coulda, shoulda, woulda, maybe, possibly, some kind of way hurt you, you're a punk. Stop it. You guys, this is just driving me crazy. You don't worry about what some woman might do. This is when your intellect and your intelligence comes into play. The men need to trust themselves. You get your shit together for you, because that is what makes you a man. You don't do it because of a woman. You do it because that's what you know you're supposed to be doing as a man. Then you go and look for a woman who has something to offer as well. You want somebody who's going to be a team player. Okay, you don't go and get somebody who's sitting there doing her nails and ain't worked in 12 years and never went to school to get your wife. Now, of course, you don't do that. You go to get a woman who's got some stuff going for herself, and then you guys join forces. But until you have something going for yourself, you're not qualified to look for a woman. That's what I'm saying. So I understand. I hear you. I know what you're talking about because I've heard it like 50 bazillion times myself, but it makes me crazy. I don't want to see dudes get caught up in their fears. When you get caught up in your fears, you need to feel the fear and do it anyway. Those are achievers, the people who have dreams and make the dreams happen. You don't get your dreams derailed by fear of what might happen of a negative nature. You're focusing on the wrong thing, focusing on what's going to happen good. Stop focusing on the negative. And so to me, this is like a no-brainer. You cannot sit there and worry about a woman, quote, taking you, because it's just stuff anyway. It's stuff. Just like you got that, you can get some more because you got it going on like that. Stop being afraid. And if, a lot of times it's like you have this kind of energy, you're putting out there this negative, fear-based energy, that's exactly what you're going to draw to you, because that's what you're looking for. That's your focus. And so, stop it. You guys just don't do that. Think about the good that you're going to do for yourself and move forward with your program with confidence, self-assuredness, and the goals for being the greatest man you can possibly be. And if you do that and stay focused on that, you will never, ever, ever go wrong.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up all your time, but can I just play devil's advocate? What if it's not fear? What if it's just something that naturally adds weight to a relationship for a man?
How could it naturally add weight to it if it's not even there yet?
So
That's what I'm saying. That's fear.
I'm talking about in the sense of having somebody on your way up, not necessarily the fear of you having it all together and some gold digger type woman invading that kind of life you've built. But what if just having that woman say, maybe you met her when you're younger in your college, or you're out of college and you're just getting on your feet. Before you get on your feet, having that woman there. Look, I know a lot of dudes where that adds serious weight to the relationship and can make for an even better relationship because they have more stock in the relationship because of it.
Well, that might be
or is
true.
That just,
but how is that helping her? See, this is the part that really drives me crazy. You guys think about yourselves all the time. There's nothing in that situation that's a benefit to that woman. Nothing. Nothing there that's going to help her be better, help her achieve her goals, help her get more money, help her move through the world faster, advance her career. Nothing. Nothing for her to be with you while you on the way coming up. Nothing. So why should she do it? That's the part I want guys to think about. No, you got to.
I'm not even talking about. But I'm not talking about contributing money or anything like that. But what if just the relationship? Because a relationship in that stage of life can make some things a lot easier. It can, if it's twofold, going back and forth, it can make things easier. It can make achieving a lot of the goals they both may have somewhat easier when you have someone who can contribute financially back and forth, or maybe just help with everyday tasks that may free you up to actually progress towards your goals.
But still, that's something you need to do for yourself. If you're a man and you need help, get it from your daddy, your brothers, your uncle, your boys, your frat brothers, your professor, the bank, Whatever you need to do it yourself. Yeah, it might be easier, but we're not talking about easier. We're talking about manhood. Manhood is not easy. Stop looking for the easy out. Stop depending on women to cushion your blows. That's what I'm talking about. The mindset is just all wrong. It's not women's job to cushion you, to support you, to help you come up. Nothing. It's not her job. And it's like for you to think, and I'm not talking about you personally, I mean you as in people who think this way, to think that that's something that is appropriate and that's what women should, quote, should want is faulty thinking. I know a lot of women fall into the trap, but it's not anything, ladies, that you need to even do. And when he gets to where it is he needs to go, at least 3/4 of the way, then you could get with him, because then you would see that his shit is really happening. But until then, it's just a pipe dream. He just talking. He ain't done shit. So, I mean, there's no reason to put, invest time and energy in a situation that is not guaranteed for the woman. And there's just too many women that do that, and they end up getting jacked up in the end. My own father told me to never do that. He said, don't you ever help a man do shit. Don't do nothing. If he wants you to type a paper for him or something, maybe. But he better buy you dinner or something to pay you back. There's no freebies in this world. That's what I'm telling you. My daddy was like straight about that. Drilled it into my head forever. And it's like, you don't help a motherfucker do shit. Those were his exact words. And it's like any man who's dependent on a woman is a punk big nigger. He's no kind of man. I don't want you talking to him. He's supposed to come at you with stuff to offer you, not be talking about help me get it. So no. Now I can't. My uncles, my grandfather, they were all very solid men with a lot going on. They owned property, they owned boats, they did, all kind of stuff. And they did that by themselves, and then they brought their women and children into the picture. They had something to provide for them. It was important for them to be providers. They did not look for a woman to come in and help them dream their dreams. I can't sign on to it, brother. I know what you're saying, but I can't do it.
I mean, I somewhat agree with you, but basically I think you're saying is basically two success stories doesn't make up for the 8 times it goes wrong. It's basically kind of sum it up simply.
Exactly. I think guys, if a guy really is serious, then he really should have no problem with what I'm saying, because he would understand if it was his sister or his daughter, he'd want her to take the same approach that I'm talking about. He would want her to get with the man who has a sure thing going, not a pipe dream.
And I agree, but I think that just puts a wrench in, the people, men and women who have that dream of getting married, semi-young, maybe mid, late 20s. Because in this economy, in this day and age, having your stuff together by that age is slim.
Yeah, but at least he's on his way. See, that's what I'm saying. If you're talking about a college student, you never know which way. People drop out of school, then what? You done put 2 years into a relationship with a man, trying to help him come up in this, and then he drops out of school and leaves the state. Now what? This happens a lot. I agree with you when you're talking about in school, but I was mostly focused on when someone's already graduated and, in that building, your name and your reputation in the workplace type of mode already. Yeah, well, if you do that for a few years and get yourself, pay off them student loans and all that stuff, and then we can have a conversation.
Well, it'll be a while till I get them loans done with.
But you'll be all right. You sound like you have the the right mindset. Just you'll be all right. I don't have no bad vibes coming from you. Just take your time, and don't stress. Please don't get caught up in fear. Do not even put that in your head. Think positive.
All right. Thank you for taking my call, and I'll be listening.
Okay. Let me get 254. I know who this is. What up, dude?
Hello, Miss Cooper. How you doing this evening?
I am fine. I know you got something to say on this topic.
Yeah, it's a real interesting topic. I've heard this quite a bit. You've seen the different stories of women who supported men through college. I'll give you Dwayne Wade, for example. His wife, they were married in college, had 2 kids. Once he came up and got on, he dropped it like a bad habit. So that can happen. There are stories to the contrary where people do stick together and the person is with them before all the fame and notoriety, and they do work it out. I can't tell people on an individual basis what they should or should not do personally. My thing is, it's one thing to support someone, it's another thing to enable bad behavior. enable things of that nature to where they're taking advantage of you. Now, if you got a plan, I want to be a rapper, I want to do this, that, and that's nothing tangible. And just because you want to do something like that doesn't mean that you still shouldn't have a job. You shouldn't have something else to do to supplement that. I mean, I wouldn't recommend a woman putting her dreams and aspirations on hold. It's good to support people. I mean, everyone wants and needs support at some point in time, because some individuals that do it on their own in everything they do can end up being very selfish with what they have. I got this, I bought this, I earned this, so they won't be the type of person who would be a selfless individual who would be willing to share their time, their resources with you. My thing was this. I recall how I learned how to swim. I can remember this to this very day. I was thrown in the water. They say either you're going to swim or you're going to drown. And that's exactly what it was. And that's how it works in life. I am responsible for me. I don't have anyone to fall back on. I don't have brothers and sisters. I don't have a big extended family, so I was raised to be self-sufficient. Anyone that does for me, I certainly appreciate it, but I'm not going to ask you. I know my pride is too much. I would do whatever I have to do because I'm responsible for me. No one else is. You know, I've seen guys who ride around a girl's car, driving it while she's at work, asking her for gas money and this, that, and the third. I'll be damned. That ain't never going to be me. You know what I'm saying? I have too much self-respect and too much pride and dignity as a person to even remotely, to even think of doing something like that. It's nothing wrong with supporting someone. I would never say that. A lot of things, and one thing I see too a lot is people try to disassociate. Look, I'm a black man and I am a proud member of the black community. I will never say I'm better than the next man, nor am I any worse. But I don't disassociate myself. Well, I'm not like the rest of them. Mm-hmm. I could easily be that guy. You know, so me to sit here and say I'm going to get on my soapbox and say I'm better than him, no, I'm not going to say that. You know, I'm not a good man. I tell people that I'm just good at being me. And this notion somehow, somewhere, that's exactly what it is. I don't put myself on a pedestal. People categorize you. You don't. I can tell you whatever you want to hear. You know, but ultimately you determine what you see me as being. And this notion of that, you know, that's okay. I agree with what you were saying as far as getting a job if you were a young man. I remember when I was 14, I got my first job. Worked at the YMCA. It was nothing like having your own money. It was nothing like having your own versus someone giving it to you. When you have something, when you earn it, you appreciate it that much more. I know I do. You know, everything that I have, I got myself. I mean, my mother did the best she could, and I'm proud of what she gave me and what she instilled in me, but she instilled in me a work ethic. You know, I look at how she worked in the different jobs that she did when I was a kid growing up. You know, and I see some guys, I'm just stuff like shaking my head. It's like you a grown-up kid. You got to ask your girl for money to go do things. You got to ask your girl for this and that, and you're cool with that. And I just can't fathom that. You know, I mean, we try and put markers on what is manhood. Is it the hair on your chin? Is it what hanging between your legs? The chromosome you carry and all this and that? A man is based on his actions, what you do. Not what you say, not your physique, your word. Your word is your bond. You got to live by that. And I see some guys like, I feel bad for the woman. I'm just left shaking my head. I'm like, you like in Arrested Development. Yeah, you may be 27 years old, but you're still acting like you're 11. And it's a damn shame. And I feel bad for women who are dealing with guys like that who don't. And I think some guys, you can be a success in life. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a lawyer or a doctor. There's many things you can do, as you said, going to trade schools. It's not about success
these days, computer techs are making more money than people coming out of school with a 4-year degree.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard that. But people, I mean, you know, it's if you're doing something that's legal and you're out there and you're busting your hump to get it, all I can do is applaud you for that, no matter what it is. Whether you're a teacher, a doctor, or a lawyer, a trash man, you're doing something legal, you're an upstanding citizen, I can't be mad at you for that. You know, and I don't blame a woman who wants to come on, you know, after you've completed these things, as opposed to going along with the journey with you. She's doing her thing, you do yours, and y'all come together. Now, I will tell you one story that I do recall that was pretty funny. I knew a couple, man and woman, they got married, and they both got married before they completed their education. So they sit down and talk. Her husband was like, look, babe, this is what we're going to do. We're in a good spot now, but I want us to be better. So he said, this is what I'm going to do. I want you to quit working and focus on your school. I will hold down the house. I'll work an extra job, do I need to do. You go to school. So once you're done with school, you get established, and I'll do the same, and, you know, we'll ride off into the sunset. So he does exactly what he said he was going to do. She quits work. He's taking care of all the bills. She graduates, get a job. Now it comes time to reciprocate, and she refused to do it.
What?
Yeah.
What was her reason?
She didn't want to. Why should she have to? So, like I said, you this whole thing going along for the ride just in that instance. Yeah, they had a plan in place of what was supposed to happen, but when it came time, you saw what she did. And I'm not saying she's a bad person, but that's the risk that you run. You know, it doesn't stop him from getting his dream. It's just going to be harder than what he thought. But, you know, it is what it is.
See, that's why you should have your dream before you get with somebody. You know, that what she did was just foul. I'm not going to cover for girlfriend. That's just wrong. He did his end. You supposed to do yours. That was the agreement. You bought into it, so that's just foul. But had they both done what I said and gotten their programs together before they got married, that wouldn't even have been an issue.
Exactly. Because like I said, waiting on somebody to do something for you, you're going to be waiting a long time. So I suggest if you want something, you have dream and aspirations, you put it in effect. Don't talk about it, be about it. Get out there and do something. Get up, get out, and get something. You know, if you wait for somebody to come along and hold your hand, yeah. I mean, it's how life works. And unfortunately, I know when I was in high school, I played football and I wrestled. I was on the wrestling team and I was on the football team. When you play football, you're dependent on the person next to you, behind you, beside you. When I wrestled, even though I was technically on a team, my success or failure was based on me and me alone. The next man had nothing to do with what I did out there when it was my time. So that's something that stuck with me. It's cool if someone wants to help and come along, but ultimately my success or failure, I'm going to sink or swim based on my effort, not the next person's. So I'm not going to take all your time. I certainly appreciate you taking my call. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lucius. Always good.
No problem.
Good. Always some great comments from that young man. And, we just got to give him a round of applause. Yeah. I got these new sound files. I'm going to be wearing them out. But, he made some good points. I'm very sorry to hear about the young lady who dogged out her husband. That's just foul and funky. I don't advise doing things like that. But see, this is why I'm being such a stickler for people having their shit together on their own before they get connected in a relationship. Don't do it. Now, I want to take an aside to talk about something. Because, people are like, well, we want somebody to be with us, these men. And we want somebody to be with us while we in the building phase. We want a woman to have our be with, hold our hand, be with us. No, nigga, no, not happening. Let me explain to you why. Now, I know you all know about Steve Harvey's book, That Act Like a Man, Think Like a Woman, whatever that name of that silly book is. Now, there were some things in there, he let go a lot of game in that book. But I'm not really sure women who read it caught it. Because when I say, well, didn't you read this? They look at me, and these are women who I know carried this book around with them everywhere. And it's like they're hearing it for the first time. So it's like I think they read the words, but they didn't really understand what the words meant. Let me put it that way. There's a part in that book where he talks about men in their building phase, where the guy is, finishing school, he's getting himself established in his career, he's doing all this stuff. And he says bluntly, clearly, flatly, that while a man is in that phase, a woman and a relationship, she's not his priority. Building is priority. So basically, ladies, what you're going to be is a convenience for him. You're going to be somebody to warm his bed, for him to stick his penis in and bust his little nut, and for it to cuddle him up and build him up and make him feel good, cook him some meals, this and that. You're basically providing free services. He is not interested in you like that, okay? You are wasting your time. Steve Harvey, go back and read. I can't remember what, I have it in a PDF. And I really should have thought to find it so I could tell you what page it's on and all that stuff. But I read it, honey, highlighted it, circled it, put some arrows on the page and everything. He was real open about that. And women need to understand what the man is saying, because it's true. I mean, the women, they complain, well, he doesn't really have time for me. He only comes by when he wants something. That's the only time he calls me. He just always busy. That is a sign that the guy is either dealing with a whole bunch of women and you just a peripheral, or if he's not dealing with a whole bunch of women, he's in that building phase that Steve was talking about. You're not a priority. You're just a convenience. You're something to do and to meet his needs so that he can go back and do what he's doing. But that doesn't mean that he's going to marry you. It doesn't mean that he loves you. It doesn't mean any of those things. Basically means is that you're giving your time, energy, and effort to a man who's building some dreams for himself, and you're helping him do it with no assurances that you're going to be a part of this future that he's building. So if you do that, you're a fool. That's all I'm going to tell you. You're a dummy, because he's not, flat out telling you that you're not the one. You're not it. His number one priority at that moment is himself. You need to be the same. Now, when I tell women this kind of stuff, many of them get offended. They're like, you just want women to be single. You just want us to be old and lonely. We want to have a relationship. I want you to have that too. But I want you to have it with somebody who's going to be able to give it back to you. I don't want you to be giving to a man in a void where you're giving, loving, sacrificing, and you're getting nothing back. What is the point of that? So no, I don't want you to have that. You're damn right I don't want you to have that. And if that's your concept of a relationship, then you're absolutely correct. I do want you to be alone, because that makes no sense. You're going to be sacrificing yourself. Some of these chicks even have kids, and they would give the man the money and the food and all kind of stuff, giving it away from their children because they're trying to support him and his dreams. Fuck that nigger. Fuck him. No, that's not what you do. That is wrong on so many levels. I just can't even tell you how many levels that's wrong. So you guys, you really got to think, and I hate to put it this way, but it's the truth. Relationships should always be looked at like a business. It should be looked at as a business venture. Relationships are kind of like a merger and acquisition. You're merging forces and acquiring the benefits offered to you from the other corporate entity. That may be, in some instances, it's a lot of debts, strikes and stuff like that. But usually it's patents, trademarks, intellectual property, properties, investments, all kinds of stuff. There's benefits there. So if you're looking at a relationship with a man, you should be looking at what benefits he brings to your life. If your benefit list is very short and all you can think of is, we have great sex, you're stupid. You're a dumb woman. Okay, that's a dummy move. Because there needs to be more going on than what happens in the bed. Okay, that's good for an hour? There's 23 more hours in the day. What good is he for the rest of them hours? Is he just going to be sitting up there talking about, babe, bring me a sandwich, babe. Come rub on me, babe. Come suck on me, babe. All this are orders and requests and stuff. But what is he giving to you? What's he doing for you? What benefits does this man coming into your life have for your world? What is he doing to lessen your burdens, to make you feel happier, to make you feel more secure, to make you feel more loved, to protect and devote himself to you? What is he doing? And if you can't really think of anything, and neither can he, then this is a relationship, quote, relationship, that should not be happening. It shouldn't be happening at all. Okay? You guys, there's actually an article on the Surviving Dating blog that talks about that. It's called Relationships Are a Business or something like that. Anyway, you can do a search on Surviving Dating. Once you get to the website, there's a search box at the top right-hand corner of the page. Enter Relationships Are a Business, and it should pop right up. And you can find it and read it. Because I'm telling you, you guys have got to get a different perception about relationships. You are not there to give to men. You're not there to take care of them. I know this is what's spread among black race for women, that women are supposed to sacrifice themselves to take care of men, and you got to hold him down and lift him up and make him feel like a man and boost his ego and all, be submissive. I mean, black women have so many rules for what they're supposed to do for men. I follow none of them. I am me 24/7, 366, okay? And the guys who get with me, they're challenged. I know I'm not easy to deal with. I admit that. But every man who has ever been in a relationship with me is a better man for it, because I don't let them get away with making excuses. We don't fly that here. You're going to be a man, damn it. You're going to be a man, and you're going to treat me like a woman with respect. You're going to adore me, and you're going to treat me the way I deserve to be treated. And the second that you stop doing that for any reason, because it's Tuesday and you mad, I don't care. We have a problem, and I'm going to tell you about it whether you want to hear it or not. So this is the kind of thing that I think challenges men to be their best. When you coddle them and you, okay, baby, whatever you want. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Knowing it's some bullshit. And, this kind of stuff, you're doing not only him, but yourself a disservice, because that is the moment where you have a lot of power. If he's asking your opinion, give it to him. Stop being a Stepford woman. Be honest with him and say, well, babe, that sounds kind of shaky. Or, are you sure them people that you invested this money with are up on the up and up? Did you, investigate them? I mean, did you get, any kind of D&B background search on these people? Who are they? I mean, what's going on with their company? Did you look at any financial reports? I mean, what's going on? You got to, kind of sometimes redirect men's energy, because I'm not talking about this could be your husband of 20 years. But, sometimes they come in and they be all gung-ho about the possibilities of, doing this thing, or because his buddy told him that he did it and all those stuff. So they're going by that. Okay, but you know what? The money he's going to be using to do that is the money that you was going to use to send your kids in college, or this was the money for your retirement or something like that. So you have a vested interest in making sure this shit is okay. Open your mouth. Don't sit there and think just because that's your man, you got to take it and be quiet. No, talk to him. Tell him. And if what he's talking about is stupid, tell him that too. Say, no, that sounds like some dumb shit. You ain't going to invest no money in that. You tripping and stuff like that. I mean, just be blunt and tell him. And so, in this thing I wrote on my Facebook page, I was talking about, the lady's like, well, if a woman's laughing at you because your dreams just, or she thinks your dreams are crazy, that's the wrong woman for you. No, some men's dreams need to be laughed at. They're hard to leave, just like rolling on the floor style laughing. And sometimes, if the guy really is a cool dude, he'll look at you like, oh shit, wait a minute. And you tell him why you laughing, shit, he might start laughing too. And like, damn, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? So it just depends on your relationship and that man. But don't ever be afraid to speak up. If your man is about to go down the path of death and destruction and you really love him, it is your job. It is your obligation as his partner to pull his coat and tell him. Now, of course, he can still do it, in which case, you got a decision to make. Are you going to go on that sinking ship with him, or are you just going to let him go by himself? But if you have a gut feeling that what he's about to do is the wrong move, you need to tell him. Because a lot of men really trust their women's, gut instincts and her what they call a female intuition. And if it starts tingling, you get this uncomfortable feeling, this like the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and it's not really anything you can really put your finger on, but if something's not right, it's something about this person that he's talking about, or this one you met, something is giving you the willies, you need to let him know that so he can rethink this. Because if he trusts you, that's what he's going to do. You see what I'm saying? This is when the partnership aspect comes into play. See, I moved on from the early part to, this is the established couple part. So you have an obligation not to be this Stepford wife type of Stepford girlfriend thing. You got yourself tied up with this man. You got his kids. You living with him, you married to him, your finances your retirement is tied in with his, your family's a part of his family and vice versa. I mean, y'all is entwined here. So if he goes down, he's taking you with him. You just gonna stand there and let it happen? You're stupid if you do that. You better speak up you better tell him. And you don't have to do it in a tone, where it's going to be like, nigga, you crazy. I'm not saying you got to do it all crazy like that. I'm just saying if you feel that something is wrong, let him know. Don't sit there and just go, okay, baby, well, whatever you think. You the man of the house. Fuck all that. Just tell him, this is crazy. I'm not really feeling this, and this don't sound right, and I don't think you should do it. Okay, that's what he needs to hear. And that's because in that way, if later it is fucked up, you're on record for having warned him, and there's nothing he can say about what you should have told me. You didn't let me know. You wasn't honest. You just let me go. Okay, you see what I mean? You're going to get blamed. You better speak up, chick. You better tell it. Okay? Anyway, anybody got a question or a comment? We're in the final 20 minutes or so of the show. 347-327-9215. That's 347-327-9215. And what's really messed up too is sometimes if you're a woman and you tell your man that, he's off his rocker and that what he's talking about ain't gonna work, some guys really get defensive. They get upset. It's like they have it in their mind that this is what they want to do. And so they don't really, want to hear anything that's critical. So you'll get hit with stuff like, you just pushy. You just a bitch. You bossy, you controlling. You have a bad attitude. You unsupportive. You don't have a nigga's back. This kind of thing. Because you are critical of what he's talking about. And unfortunately, that might be something that comes out of his mouth, but don't take it personally. That is a sign of someone who feels defensive. He's defensive because he came to you thinking that what he was presenting was a really good idea, and his shit got shot down. And so now he's even the feelings all hurt, and he's all bent out of shape. Instead of just taking it on the chin like, tough dude, he's going to be getting all into the name calling and labeling thing. So you, as a smart woman, would say, I might be all of those things, but the bottom line is my opinion about what you're about to do stays the same regardless. You are about to go down a path of destruction. You are going to go down a path that's going to lose your shirt. You're going to waste your money and waste your time and put this family at a financial risk, and I'm not going to have it. So you can be mad if you want to. Just understand what I'm saying here. Go away and think about it for a couple of days before you make a decision. Because, of course, it's like especially if it's something, he can do without you anyway, well, that's just something that would have to be dealt with. But a man who really would truly see his wife and woman as his partner would not do that. There are cases where guys do it anyway. I understand that. But I'm just saying we're going to operate from the mentality that this is a sane individual and that he was seeking your counsel because he trusts what you have to say and what you think and how you think. So he would most likely listen to you. All right? So you ladies just have to be very cognizant of that and not afraid to speak up. You've got to speak up about the things that your man does. Now, do you speak up to guide him, tell him what to do all the time, tell him what to wear, how to drive, what route he should take everywhere, that he needs to get up on time, all this mothering, nagging stuff? No, you don't do all that. If he's going to be late to work, he'll be late. After his boss chews his ass out of time for 2 and writes him up, he'll set the alarm clock 10 minutes early and get up on time. You see what I mean? You can't help men all the time. You got to let them just fall on their ass sometimes. Sit there and just your arms crossed and just watch him. Don't say nothing. If he comes to you and asks you, or like I said, it's something that's going to affect you personally or your children, or might put your home at risk, something like that, then you better speak up. You better open that mouth and sing like a canary and just, make sure he's put in check about it. Now, what about guys? Because I've seen this thing happen too. Guys have friends. Okay, they have friends, and one of the dudes has this idea. He got this brilliant, and I use that facetiously, brilliant idea for something he wants to do. So he runs it by his buddies. An amazing thing happens. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. They will sit there and be like, oh, yeah, man, yeah, Then they go away, right? It's like 2 or 3 of them will go away and say, man, that nigga out his rabbit-ass mind. But they won't say it to him. Why is that? I thought that's just the most amazing thing. It seems like it's some kind of man code, where they don't want to, front a brother in front of other men, or, to tell him that his thinking is skewed and off and that he's stupid. They don't want to do that. So they just, nod and agree with him and say, yeah, that might could work. That might could work. Oh, I can see where you're going with that, man. They say something that's non-critical. Let me just put it that way. They might not be totally buying into it, but they don't criticize him and they don't poke holes in what he's talking about. They just, just kind of go along with it. Okay, dude, that shit is faulty. Okay, this man's got a wife and kids that's going to be dependent on him. And it's like, you need to say something. And of course, you don't have to say, man, you dumb as hell. You don't have to say it like that, but you can say, man, I don't know, man, that might be kind of financially risky. What you going to do as a safety net to make sure that you save the house for the woman and the kids. You see what I mean? That's expressing your concerns. It's directing him to think a little deeper, but it's not criticizing him personally. It's merely directing him to asking a question. Did he think about this particular aspect right here? Bingo. That's what more men need to do. You guys got to stop coming for each other. Him and this code. And then, then the woman and the kids all on the street living in a homeless shelter and shit. Then you could have said something. You could have saved that situation from happening if you had just spoken up, because you have expertise in this particular area. That's why he mentioned it to you. But you, instead of telling the brother, when, you need to think about this and this and this here, you just, I could see, that probably could work. My brother, that's good. You got them kind of dreams. You dreaming big. You dreaming large, man. Yeah. And you become like this old fucked up cheerleader instead of a realist and, getting the guy back on track to where he needs to be to handle his responsibilities. You're supposed to be his boy. His boy means you got his back. That also means you got his back as far as his responsibilities. You help him stay on track. You don't just let him just wander all stupid, making some crazy ass decisions, while you don't want to hurt his ego. Don't do that. Stop it. I wanted to know too, somebody sent me a text, and she says, you're too hard on men. You're too hard on men, and men need women to, make their world soft. And I'm like, really, I was thinking, bitch, please. But I didn't say that. I just wrote her back, and I said, well, if a man's world is soft, if a woman softens it for him too much, he becomes lazy. He becomes incompetent. That masculine edge, that ambition, that aggressiveness to succeed disappears. It goes away. And then you're left with like a shell of a man, the kind that women they're not really sexually attracted to. He's not exciting. He doesn't bring out that feminine energy in her. He's just there. He's like a blob. And a lot of guys do have that effect on women, and they don't understand why the women don't want them or don't really, they get put in the friend zone. It's because they don't exude that energy. And a guy who is making some shit happen is excited about who he is. A guy who is going out there and slinging it, he's hitting it hard. He wakes up in the morning and he is tired, but he can say, damn, I'm doing this shit. I'm making this fucking shit happen. I got it going on, this and that. Okay, he is his own cheerleader. He don't need you. I mean, it's nice if you do, but it's not like he needs it from you because he's capable of providing it for himself. That is a man that women are drawn to like bees to honey because of his confidence level. Now, that is a huge thing in the dating world. And I think a lot of men don't understand it. A lot of women don't really either. That's why I'm trying to break it down in a show and tell type way. When a guy accomplishes things and feels good about who and what he is and what he does, he is a confident man. He exudes it. He stands taller. He walks faster. He stands with confidence. He looks people in the eye, and he makes his dreams come true. Who would not want a man like that? Who? Not me. I'm like first in line. Because that is the kind of guy, when I think of manhood, that's what I think of. Someone who, even if it's slow going, he's still doing it. He's making it happen. He's making inroads. He's making steps. He's taking risks. He's doing things that are going to get him where he wants to go without begging for you to help him do it. When you hiccup with him, he's telling you what he's done. So you can sit there with your mouth hanging over saying, well, goddamn, really? You did all that since I saw you last time? Okay, I mean, that's just like a major turn on. It's like, whew, I feel hot around the collar just thinking about it. That's the kind of man I like. You know, I don't know about you. The rest of you got these men sitting on the couch talking about, baby, you need to help me. You need to support a brother. Yeah, I need to support a brother dreams. I'm trying to, yeah. And you think you have a man. You ain't no man. You got some old punk bitch nigga then sitting on the couch. That's not a man. Y'all really need to evaluate who you be spending your time with and having these babies by and stuff. These sorry pieces of shit, they ain't about nothing. Okay, 310 has returned. Area code 310. What's your question or comment?
Hi again. Sorry, my phone I lost service. So I wanted to respond because, you were talking about earlier how, women, they can get kind of dumb because the guy is sitting there, doing all this stuff, with her help, and then he doesn't marry her. But the worst thing is when they marry you and you're the starter wife. I have a couple friends that were the starter wives that married him right after college when they first started and quote unquote held him down, and he gave her a kid to shut her up. And then basically, I don't know, by the time the kid was 8, he had gotten promoted 4 times at work, and so he was out the door, paid his child support, and he went and upgraded on her. So it's not even that so much that they might not marry you. The worst thing is if they do marry you, and then they're going to leave you. You put all that time in, you look like a truck, and then here you are, this divorced lady who got left because you started off as a training wheel. And every guy I know I repeated this, but every guy I know, black male or otherwise, say, don't do that. Don't be a training wheel.
And it's like, what is it that we have to do or say to women to get them to understand? And it's really funny because the guys are so resentful. They want that training wheel because it makes life easier for them. Yes. But I'm like, telling women, you got to stop doing that. You don't help men do anything. You don't help them at all, ever.
And they will try to marry you to keep you around. And that's the thing. You don't want the shut-up ring. You don't want the shut-up ceremony because the whole time you're there, he'll let you do everything. You'll be cutting up his meat. You'll be doing all that stuff. And then he'll be gone. Like this household that you think you have and all your party, you got your little couples parties or whatever. But he's already kind of moved. After the 4th promotion, he's out the door. They don't stay just because they marry you. A lot of guys that are making money, they don't care about child support. They'll pay it. They'll pay alimony because they know it's a temporary thing. But guess what? They still got to upgrade from you, and they get to upgrade with the girl that doesn't know how they really are. They just see, you know what I'm saying? They didn't see the struggle, all his insecurities. They get the secure package, and you're the training wheel. But here's the thing. There are some people, they're cool with that. They're cool with the whole stepping stone arrangement kind of thing. I don't got anything, you don't got anything, let's get married 5, 6 years, 7 years. It's like a business arrangement, literally. And then when it's over and the time runs out and everybody's got the degree and everybody's in their career, they leave each other, right? But a lot of people can't do it that way. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm saying a lot of people, a lot of women, they get caught up in it. They think, oh, well, it's been 5 years. This whole stepping stone arrangement, it's not really going to happen. He's been there for 5 years. We got 2 kids. But no, in his mind, it's still a stepping stone arrangement. And he is going to go when he's ready to go.
Unbelievable. Well, you brought up a good point because this show primarily deals with singles, so I don't go too much into the married life. Right. But you're absolutely right.
Because a lot of black women were acting like marriage is the holy grail. And I have been engaged twice. Once I was 19. I didn't need to get married. Second time I was 36, and it was a disaster for other reasons. But the thing is that that's the best thing that happened to me, not to marry those 2 guys. They're not bad people, but I wouldn't have been able to be me being in those marriages. And for black women, it's not just that a man, quote unquote, wants to. If he's gonna marry me, that's great. But if he sucks, you're married to him. So now you're married to a sucky guy. Before you were dating and you had a way out, but now you're married to him. Now you're stuck with an anchor weight. Before you were swimming side by side and he kind of sucked and you kind of help him up against the waves. But now when he's an anchor weight, he's like around your ankle and you're trying to sit there and swim in an ocean with an anchor weight pulling you down.
Oh my God. Woo! Well, honey, I am glad you called back in because that threw a whole new twist into the works.
Well, I'm just saying, black women, the marriage to a great guy is great, but it's not a holy grail. Marriage is not a holy grail because that's how you get played. That's how pimps do it. They get you invested in an idea and they play you. They play you, and you get married to that guy, and he'll be sitting there playing you, cheating on you, and you're paying the bill. You'll be paying for other women. I had a friend that did that. That's a whole other story. Paying for his affairs. You don't have time for that. That's not tax deductible. Don't do it.
Okay, girl. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Ms. Harpy.
I think, I want to touch on something else, too, that came up as a side part of this conversation while we're on the topic of wives. And we're going to approach this on another show. But I kind of want to touch on it here. Part of this discussion concerns the judgment that men have about women being, quote, wife material. Wife material. She's not wife material because she won't help me. She's not, wife material. Now, what does that mean? We're going to talk about that next week. So you guys think about that, make a note, and you make a list of what you think wife material is. And because when I get on the show next week, I'm going to be asking you to call in and share what it is that you've come up with. What makes a woman wife material? Okay, what does she have to do? Say, what does that look like? What does that make you feel like? That's how we can get more specific. When you talk about a woman as a wife material, for you, how do you feel about her? What has she done? What has she said? Because I'm looking at this servitude that a lot of black women are promoting for other women to be in order to be considered someone's wife. And I'm not seeing where there's a benefit. The relationship seems to be very one-sided from my perspective. There's a lot of demand on black women to give and to fit certain rigid roles as far as behavior, attire, sexuality, education, cooking, cleaning, all this kind of thing. A lot of very rigid boundaries that women, these guys seem to have for women. But most of their judgments seem to focus on, and this is just my opinion, what the woman is doing for them. The more she does for them, the more likely she is to be considered wife material. Now, on the other hand, if that were true, then wouldn't most black women be married? Because they love to do for their man. That's all I hear. Plus it's like, if I don't do it for him, somebody else will. There's a lot of fear involved in relationships with black women. A lot of fear of not being chosen and a lot of fear of being abandoned. So they will allow themselves to be involved in like freaky sexual activities or coerced into doing criminal activities or doing things, giving too much to men out of fear of him leaving. So I think that's something that we need to talk about, because this mentality here, this you need to support my dreams thing, is another one of those boundaries that is put on a woman with all the expectation that she need to do these things first in order for him to consider maybe possibly thinking about trying to wonder about her being his wife. And so these women are doing all this auditioning, in the meantime giving away all their feminine energy, all their power, all their time, and in many cases their money and their children's innocence, because they get involved with pedophiles. And, we talked about that too. So you can go in the archives and listen to that. If you're a single mom and you missed that show, you better listen up because you need to know what's really going on out here. So, all in all, I think, this has been a very interesting discussion. I want women to really think about, the kinds of men that you align yourself with. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, if the guy's saying that he has some goals and he has some dreams and some things he wants to do with his life, well, ask him, well, what are those? Can you explain them to me? What is it you're trying to do? Well, what's your time frame? That's another question. Because if he doesn't have a time frame, he's just talking shit. Okay, then you want to know, well, what have you done so far to start making this dream a reality? He should have some tangible things. He should be able to pull out a notebook or some books he's read or tell you about some classes he's taken in business management, administration, finance, taxes, something. He should have done something that shows he's on that path and that this dream is going to soon be a reality. This should not be something that he's still sitting around, giving lip service to. There should be something going on that's tangible with this man and these dreams. You should also have, just really guard your energy. I think that's the main thing. Guard your energy. Don't be so gung-ho when you first get involved with these guys and start thinking that, you need to prove to him what kind of woman you can be for him. That's not the goal. The goal is he's supposed to prove to you what kind of man he can be for you. Y'all got this twisted. It's like the men have turned into the women or something. It's really interesting. So I want to, thank all you guys for coming on to the show and listening to me go on and on about this. I feel very strongly about this subject. I really want black men to step up. Step up, y'all. Come on now. Stop it. Stop all this nonsense. It's embarrassing. That's what it is. It's like you want to talk about yourself being kings and leaders and, rulers and, we come from kings, heritage in Africa and all this old stuff. But nothing that you do is acting like that. You're acting like pussies. You're acting all like brand new and weak and jealous and insecure, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want you to be like that. I don't want you showing your sons that kind of behavior and your daughters. This is an example of manhood. And women, I don't want you aligning yourself with guys like that. Stop helping them. If you don't do it, just step back, they'll hit the ground, they'll bounce up. Trust me, they'll get up with some knots in their head and some bruises on their butt, but they will get the fuck up. And that's what we want. The men standing strong. I don't care if they're a little battered and bruised. They are standing strong and they're standing proud because they did it on their own.